In a beautiful afternoon in Yukihira Restaurant, an ugly, worthless cook named Soma had a cooking battle with his father, Joichiro, and they made Mayumi, who is Soma's classmate, act as a judge. After tasting both of their dishes, Mayumi declared Joichiro the winner, and he mocked his son for almost losing to him 500 times. But Soma reminds him that the number is only 489. Meanwhile, the customers are getting turned on for some reason after eating Joichiro's cooking, and Soma is standing depressed in a corner. Mayumi tried to cheer him up by saying that his dish was really good too, so Soma thanked him and asked if she would like to taste the new dish he had just invented. Trying to be nice, Mayumi agreed, but regretted her decision when she saw that the dish was grilled squid tentacles in peanut butter dressing.
No! God, please, no! No!
I feel like puking just imagining it. Soma forcibly shoved the squid in Mayumi's throat, and after eating it, she felt like she was being violated by the food. Soma ignored everything and muttered to himself as he vowed to travel to the endless wilderness of cooking, which consisted of a world of mixed and unknown flavors. She was scarred for life, and got even more shocked when she saw Joichiro and Soma arguing about who just made the worst dish. The two kept making food for their customers, and later that night, an urban life planner, Yaiko, walked into the restaurant with her dual weapons of mass destruction, and showed us why jiggle physics is the best thing that has ever happened to humanity. She was planning to build an apartment building in place of the restaurant, so she wanted to buy the restaurant, but Soma told her to get out of there as they had no plan of selling their restaurant. Leaving her business card on the table, she threatened Soma by saying that running a restaurant was difficult, and asked him what he would do if a customer didn't get what he wanted. So Soma answered that they would close the shop gracefully and go out of business. Planning to hold him to his word, Yaiko left the restaurant. The following day, while returning home from school, Soma received a call from his father, who told him to close the restaurant today, as he had to go somewhere. He asked Soma what he planned to do after completing his middle school, and after hearing that he just planned to study cooking at the restaurant, Joichiro cut the call. Remembering that he didn't know much about his father's past life, Soma went back home only to see that all the supplies in the kitchen had been sabotaged. Suddenly, Yaiko and her minions popped up out of nowhere, and she demanded Soma to make him a juicy meat dish. She had ruined all the kitchen supplies, so Soma wouldn't be able to make what she requested, but the mad lad accepted the challenge and started cutting food faster than a bullet train. Seeing how confidently he was cooking, Yaiko confirmed to her subordinates if they really destroyed all the supplies. After cooking for a short while, Soma made a pork roast with steamed potatoes inside it. And Yaiko told him that since he didn't make a meat dish as she requested, she would now close the restaurant. However, smelling the mouth-watering aroma coming from the dish, Yaiko couldn't resist testing out the dish, and after taking a single bite, her floodgates burst open like a dam.
Nice.
Soma then started explaining what made the dish so good, and when Yaiko tried to take another bite, Soma pulled the dish away and told her that he would only let her taste it if she would promise him to never come after the restaurant again. Yaiko hesitated at first, but she couldn't resist taking another bite of Soma's delicious meme. She and her subordinates then indulged in the delicacy, and the food was so good that their clothes were ripped apart, and they lay on the floor unconscious like they just had the best night of their lives. The next morning, Soma cleaned up the mess made by Yaiko, and when Joichiro came and asked him what he was doing, he told him that a rude customer made a mess. As he continued cleaning, Joichiro dropped a bomb, and told Soma that he was going to close the restaurant for the next 2 or 3 years, as his old friend invited him to work together. Soma attempted to stop his father, but Joichiro told him to find his own way as a cook, and made him join the Totsuki Culinary Academy. Going to that academy, he thought that the Culinary Academy must be filled with old geezers making boring dishes. On his way, he stumbled upon some of its students who were crying because they got expelled from the school. And as their father begged the guard to rescind his son's expulsion, Soma looked over to the academy, which was much more like a city of its own, and his father revealed that it was Japan's top culinary academy with only 10% graduation rate. Meanwhile, inside Totsuki's academy, Irina belittled the student's dish and said that it felt like she was standing peacefully under a waterfall and a jukebox came crashing down on her. Weird analogy, but to each their own. After trying another dish, she felt like it was taking a bath with a gorilla. You can just say the dish was bad, Irina. There's no need to be a weirdo. Standing outside the academy, Soma was informed that he would be taking the transfer exams to get inside the academy. Meanwhile, Joichiro was in a famous hotel in New York, cooking for VIPs, and all of the guests seemed to be his huge fans. His cooking made them feel radiant, and they all wanted to sacrifice everything just to eat his cooking one more time. A monk who had been fasting decided to break it just because he felt like he couldn't let the chance to taste Joichiro's cooking slip away. He told Soma that he wouldn't ever be able to surpass him if he didn't survive the academy. For the transfer exam, Erina was chosen to judge it, but she felt like it was boring work and didn't expect much from anyone. Entering the academy, Soma ran into a rich brat, whose family owned a French restaurant. Not only he, but everyone else came from some rich culinary backgrounds. So when Soma mentioned that he worked at his dad's diner, the guy called him a low-class commoner and kicked him to the ground. As he was yapping about how high and mighty he was and how someone like Soma didn't deserve to learn cooking with the upper echelons of the food industry, Soma slammed the guy on the ground and went to the transfer exam. Greeting all the students, Erina discarded the original plan to have each student make 3 dishes, and told all the students that the only way they could transfer into the academy was to impress her palate with an egg dish. Since she was famous everywhere, all the students tried to run, and Soma was confused, so he asked the guy who he had just slammed to the ground about why everyone was running. The guys told Soma that Erina had the finest palate known to mankind, and when she was born, she dissed her mother's breast milk when she was just 3 months old, saying there was no depth to the milk's flavor. Becoming famous as a child, she had been expected to be the taste tester of famous restaurants across the nation since she was young, and all the heavyweights in the world were her clients. Because of these reasons, everyone decided to run, and thinking that everyone had left, Erina wanted to go back and practice her new dishes. However, she realized that a challenger was still present. Soma tried to act casual with her, but her assistant Arato told him that she was the youngest member of the Elite 10, the highest decision-making body in the academy. Soma wasn't really interested in all of that, so he started cooking and made rice with seasoning. Erina got angry because of the simple dish, but Soma told her that it wasn't just any simple dish, as the seasoning on the rice would transform. The dish he gave her looked disgusting, but Soma made them look closely inside the dish. He poured the dish on the boiled rice, and the seasoning melted because of the rice's heat. Erina got aroused by the aroma of the simmered chicken wafting through the air and decided to take a bite. Soma garnished it with some spring onion, and when Erina took the bite, she couldn't believe that she got lost in the taste, and went for a second bite despite saying that she would only take 1 bite. She couldn't stop herself from tasting the dish again and again, and to her, it felt like she was being caressed by multiple miniature Somas. Despite everything, she refused to accept Soma's extravagant cooking, but her body reacted differently. However, in the end, she still ended up saying that the dish was disgusting, and told her grandfather, the director of the academy, that no one passed the transfer exams. Like Soma, a girl named Megumi left her home village to join Totsuki Academy, and the whole village members gathered to greet her goodbye. However, she barely managed to hang on until now, and now it is her last chance to succeed in the school. In the orientation ceremony, Erina is given the badge of the valedictorian, and the Excaliburs of all the boys unsheath looking at her. The director of the academy, Nakiri, then makes his entrance, and everyone is scared to even look at him, as he looks more like a mafia don. Nakiri congratulates all the students on their advancement to the high school division, and tells them that up until now, they have developed their understanding of the basics of cooking. But now in high school, the challenges they will face will show whether they have the mettle to survive as a culinary professional. Like a true motivational speaker, he tells all the students that 99% of them will end up becoming sacrifices to hone the skills of the remaining 1% of students. Last year, only 76 students advanced to the second year from a total of 816, and Nakiri plans to be even more strict this time, so only a small handful of professionals will graduate, which can be either of the students hearing the speech. Because of the strict selection of students, the students who end up graduating from the academy are bound to gain fame around the world, but Erina pities all those who are of her generation, as they are destined to be in second place, since Erina stands at the pinnacle of the Japanese culinary world. Suddenly, it is introduced that a transfer student will also join the academy, and much to Erina's surprise, it turns out to be Soma. He proudly says that the academy is just a stepping stone for him, and he doesn't plan to lose to the people who have never served a single customer. He claims that the first spot will be his, and everyone starts to hate him because of this. He then meets Irina, and she asks why he is here, so he shows her his acceptance letter. Irina remembers the time when she rejected him even though she loved his cooking, but her ego was too high, so she called it disgusting. She then tells him that she still hasn't accepted him or his cooking, and that he is at Totsuki because someone made a mistake. The fact that Soma thinks of becoming number one makes Irina laugh, as an underdog transfer student like Soma has no chance of standing against her. Keeping his cool, Soma tells her that he was 3 years old when he held a kitchen knife for the first time, and it's been 12 years since he's been living the culinary life. He vows to use everything in his cooking arsenal to make her say that his cooking is delicious. And Nakiri, who is secretly hearing their conversation, smirks. Walking towards the academy, Yuki and Ryoko wonder where Megumi is. Megumi is sitting in a corner, all depressed, as she thinks that she is going to be the first one to get sacrificed, as she got the lowest passing score on the entrance exam and received a final notice already. However, she collects herself and thinks that she can't give up because she has to live up to the expectations of everyone at home. Since she is on the brink of getting expelled, she thinks that she has to keep her head low and not draw unwanted attention like Soma did. However, in her first cooking class, she is paired up with Soma and feels really worried as everyone basically hates his existence and thinks that he is all talk. Soma sees Megumi playing with her hands and asks her what she is doing, so she tells her that this is her way of calming herself down. Roland Sensei then enters the class and tells everyone that any dish that fails to get an A rating will automatically get the lowest E rating. Megumi tells Soma about how strict Roland is and reveals that he fails most of the students in his class. Roland then gives all the pairs 2 hours to prepare a Burgundy-style braised beef. Soma has never prepared this dish before, and Megumi feels worried because of this, but Soma remains calm as usual and feels enthusiastic. While Megumi goes away from the dish they are preparing, 2 students vandalize the dish by putting a lot of salt into it. They can't make another dish again, as it takes more than an hour to prepare and tenderize the meat, but they only have half an hour remaining. Megumi's memories and hopes of becoming a chef flashes before her eyes, but Soma tells her to stop looking like a depressed sea cucumber, and eventually makes the dish in time using a secret technique. When Roland tests the dish out with his fork, the meat is more tender than his imagination. The secret of this tenderness lies in honey, which allows the meat to tender in less time. When Megumi and Roland taste the dish, they see a glimpse of heaven, and Roland, the professor who doesn't smile at all, smiles and gives them an A rating. However, he tells the two that he would give them a higher rating, but A rating is the maximum a professor can give a student. Later that day, Soma goes to the Polar Star dormitory and curses the people who made this dormitory so far away from the academy. The inside of the dormitory looks like it came out of a horror movie, as smoke is coming from one of the rooms, and there are loud noises and animals inside it. The caretaker of the dormitory, Fumio, scolds the students for this mess and greets Soma. Anyone who wishes to live in the Polar Star dormitory has to prepare a meal that impresses Fumio, and since Soma doesn't know about it, he has no ingredients in his hand and has to use scraps and leftovers in the kitchen. However, he confidently takes the challenge and uses leftover material to prepare a dish for Fumio that is so delicious that it surged lightning through her whole body, and she starts acting kinky with Soma. He is given the permission to live in the dorm, and for plot development purposes, he decides to take a bath and runs into Megumi, who is already taking a bath. Later, while he is resting in his room, Satoshi invites him through the attic to come into Marui's room, and everyone else from the dormitory is already present there. The talk about the Elite 10 suddenly surfaces, and when Soma asks about the Elite 10 thing, Marui tells him that the Elite 10 is a committee composed of the 10 highest-ranking students of the academy. Those students are allowed to manage most of the academy's affairs, and in the academy's hierarchy, they are second only to the director, as not even the instructor can oppose their decisions. Decades back, a bunch of Elite 10 members were from Polar Star, and Fumio occasionally still gets going about this time. Aoki and Sato then come into the room with some leftover food, and Satoshi officially welcomes Soma into the dormitory. To him, Soma is another comrade to share his youth with, and he is eagerly looking forward to his time with him in this wonderful dorm. Everyone then drinks in celebration of Soma's arrival, and these dumbasses got drunk on rice juice. Shun and Aoki then give Soma some food they have prepared for it, and Soma loves both dishes. However, Sato says that Aoki's dish is shit, and the two start fighting with each other. When Yuki tries to make them stop, they both call her an animal bitch and tell her to shut the F up. Soma then makes everyone taste his disgusting squid dish, and Satoshi removes everything from his body except his apron for absolutely no reason. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.